Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we try to get you well informed on the topics really shaping things.
Glad to be here.
Today, we're plunging into something pretty fascinating and honestly, sometimes quite, contentious.
Yeah, we're talking about generative AI in creative communities. It's a big one.
AI is just exploding, isn't it?
Yeah.
Healthcare, transport.
Absolutely everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's making huge waves in,
Yeah.
the creative fields especially, both good and, well, complicated.
Exactly. And for this deep dive, we're really zooming in on the Fortnite world. It's such a vibrant, creative scene.
It really is. Amazing stuff being built there.
So the big questions are, how do those Fortnite artists and builders actually feel about generative AI? Why is some of the opposition so strong?
And maybe more constructively, how can creators even use this tech responsibly, if at all, while still protecting their work, obviously?
Right. And we'll also touch on what big companies like Adobe are doing or trying to do about these concerns.
To get a handle on this, we've gathered quite a bit of material. We've got stuff from Reddit, where creators are talking very frankly.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big Adobe study looking at what creative pros think. We've also got a report from the U.S. Copyright Office.
Okay, getting into the legal side.
Yeah, and Epic Games' own take on AI and Fortnite, plus some thinking around human-centered AI from key institutions.
So a good mix of sources to unpack.
Definitely. We'll try and make sense of it all for you.
All right, let's just jump right in. The reactions from the Fortnite creative community.
Wow.
Yeah.
They can be intense.
Yeah, if you look at places like Reddit, the feelings are raw.
You see comments like, "You'd hate AI art if you read anything about any artists." Pretty direct.
Or even calls to action like, if you see it, report it. Just flat out rejection.
There's this feeling that there is no excuse to use AI when you can learn legit art for free.
And some go even further, saying things like, no such thing as a human AI artist. Basically denying the validity of using AI in art at all. It's clearly touching a nerve. So why? Why such strong feelings? It's not just a gut reaction, is it?
No, it seems rooted in really specific fears. That Adobe study you mentioned, with over 2,000 creative pros, it really highlights this.
What did it find?
The absolute core issue seems to be unconsented training. Fear that AI models are just scraping up their work, their art, without any permission.
Okay.
A huge number, 56% of creators, believe AI can harm them specifically because of this,
Yeah.
using their work without consent to train the machine.
Over half. That's significant. It's like their creative output is just being treated as raw data.
Exactly. It undermines their control, their ownership online. It feels like a fundamental clash, between how AI is often developed very open source and how creators see their work as theirs.
And it's not just a what-if scenario for them, right? People are actually seeing stuff that looks like theirs.
Yeah, that's what the Adobe study also found. 44%, nearly half, said they've actually seen work online that looks strikingly similar to their own stuff.
Wow.
And they believe it was made with generative AI. Think about that from a Fortnite creator's perspective.
You spend ages building a unique island, designing a skin.
And then something that looks almost identical just appears, maybe generated by a tool that learned from your original work.
That hits you right in the livelihood. And just your sense of creation, your ownership.
Absolutely. It's a challenge to the whole idea of creative property in the digital age.
And this is where the legal stuff comes in, like that Copyright Office report.
Precisely. They're really wrestling with this. The report gets into whether just using works to train AI is prima facie infringement.
Meaning, like, obviously illegal on its face.
Potentially, yes.
Mhm.
Under copyright law, they're looking at whether even the temporary copying that happens during the training process counts.
Okay.
And then there's the really tricky bit about the AI model's weights, kind of like the AI's learned knowledge or its brain.
Could that brain itself be infringing if it learned from copyrighted stuff?
That's the question. Could the weights be a copy or a derivative work? The report notes that models can sometimes basically memorize training data and spit out copies, or things very close to copies.
So direct copying is a risk, but what about this other thing you mentioned, data laundering?
Right, the Copyright Office talks about that too. It's this concern where maybe a nonprofit or a research group trains an AI model, perhaps claiming it's for academic purposes,
Okay.
but then that model or the techniques get adapted and used for commercial products down the line.
Sneaky.
Well, the Copyright Office is pretty clear. They state that if you knowingly use a data set made up of pirated or illegally accessed works to train your AI, that fact should weigh heavily against any claim of fair use.
Fair use being the exception that lets you use copyrighted stuff sometimes.
Exactly. So you can't just train on stolen art and then say, oh, but it's fair use.
Yeah.
That's a big signal to creators.
Okay, so direct copying may be dodgy training data. What else?
There's also the issue of stylistic imitation. This worries artists a lot.
Even if the AI output isn't a direct copy.
Yeah, the AI can generate stuff that's stylistically similar to a specific artist's unique look and feel.
But copyright doesn't usually protect style itself, right? Like, you can't copyright having a painterly style.
Generally, no. Style itself isn't protected. But if an AI can mimic your unique style on demand, it can seriously dilute your market, your brand. And, understandably, it feels like theft to the artist whose style is being copied.
Yeah, I can absolutely see that. It's like someone stealing your signature look.
It feels personal, and it threatens their unique identity in the marketplace.
So with all these fears, unconsented training, seeing copies, data laundering, style imitation, it's no wonder creators are demanding changes.
Absolutely. And the Adobe study shows just how united they are on this.
What are they asking for?
Overwhelmingly, they want practical tools. Like 91% want ways to attach verifiable attribution to their work, basically digital signatures.
Okay, makes sense. Prove it's yours.
And 89% believe AI-generated content should always be labeled transparency.
Know what you're looking at.
Crucially, 83% want the ability to actively tell AI models, do not train on my work. A real opt-out signal.
That seems fundamental.
It really does. And they're looking beyond just tools. 74% support government regulation of AI.
Wow, big number.
Yeah, with things like ensuring attribution, 84% support, and new laws against AI impersonating or replicating artists, 88% support. It's a clear call for control and oversight.
It's a powerful message. So, given all this pushback, is there a way forward? Can AI be used, well, ethically, in these creative fields?
That's the million-dollar question. Let's look at Epic Games, the makers of Fortnite. They actually have a vision where AI is a creative partner.
A partner, not a replacement.
That's the idea. They want Fortnite to be a platform where you build your dreams, and AI sort of handles the background stuff, the plumbing, as they put it.
The plumbing. I like that analogy. Like, AI does the grunt work.
Kind of, making complex things easier. They're putting AI into the Unreal Editor for Fortnite, UEFN. Tools like Scene Graph, integrating large language models.
Making high-end game dev tools more accessible.
Exactly. Blurring the lines.
Yep.
Imagine an AI helping organize your complex island build, or generating unique behaviors for characters based on simple descriptions.
Or maybe an AI tutor that tells you why you keep messing up a jump sequence.
Yeah, they're experimenting with stuff like that, adaptive tutorials, even an Epic developer assistant that could write some of the basic Fortnite code, verse code, from text prompts.
So streamlining the process, letting creators focus on the big picture, the actual creative ideas.
That's the goal. Taking away some of the tedious stuff, unlocking possibilities.
This sounds a lot like that human-centered AI philosophy you mentioned.
It aligns perfectly. The core idea there is that AI should augment human intelligence, enhance our capabilities, not replace us. It's about collaboration.
Okay.
Think about what AI is good at. Remembering vast amounts of data, processing it super fast, accuracy, volume, computation, and doing it all objectively without getting tired or emotional.
Right. Strengths humans don't always have, or not at that scale.
So for you as a creator, generative AI could be like this amazing assistant. For brainstorming, maybe. Getting past creative blocks, enhancing designs, automating the really repetitive parts of the workflow.
Freeing you up for the stuff that requires your unique spark.
Exactly. It complements your vision. The human is still firmly in the driver's seat, guiding the process. The final product reflects human creativity, aided by the tool.
Have we seen creators actually using AI this way responsibly?
Yeah, back on platforms like Reddit, you do see people sharing how they use it carefully.
Like how?
Many talk about using it as a conversational assistant or a thinking partner.
So bouncing ideas off it.
Pretty much. Helping brainstorm quickly, laying out different options, maybe offering perspectives they hadn't considered. But crucially, it fuels their own creative process afterward.
Right. It's a starting point, not the end point.
And definitely for efficiency. Using it for quick fixes, summarizing information that would take ages to do manually, just making things faster.
But are people setting limits?
Oh yeah, you see clear boundaries. Some folks say things like, they'd never ask it to do, for me, something I couldn't do by myself, and that has material importance.
Meaning like not using it for the core creative act if they couldn't do it themselves.
Sort of, yeah. Or others draw a hard line. Never use AI-generated images for any commercial or professional use case. Personal ethics.
That makes sense. What's the common theme, though?
The absolute importance of your critical thinking. You can't just take what the AI gives you at face value.
Gotta check its work.
You have to verify it, weigh its responses, make sure you're not just becoming dependent and losing your own ability to think critically. Keep your brain engaged.
That's a good point. Anything else coming up in those community discussions?
Well, something else that occasionally pops up is the environmental angle.
Ah, the energy use of AI.
Exactly. Some users worry about the big data centers, the energy, the water. Estimates put AI's contribution at maybe 1% of global carbon emissions, which isn't insignificant.
But is there a counter-argument?
Some argue that if AI makes human work on computers much more efficient, maybe it saves energy overall.
Right.
One complex AI query replacing hundreds of manual searches.
An interesting trade-off to consider. Okay, so let's shift to protection. How can creators actually protect their work, especially thinking about tools many use, like Adobe's?
Right, Adobe is a huge player here. Photoshop, Lightroom, many creators live in those apps.
And Adobe has a long history with creators. What's their stance?
They've been very explicit. Generative AI is a tool for human creativity, not a replacement.
Yeah.
And they're trying to back that up with features.
Like what?
They've launched this free web app based on their content credentials initiative.
Content credentials, like nutrition labels for digital files?
That's a great way to put it. This app lets you attach metadata information to basically any image, video, or audio file. Doesn't have to be made with Adobe tool.
What kind of info?
Your name, website, social media links. It's like digitally signing your work, proving where it came from, establishing provenance.
Okay, that's useful attribution. But what about stopping the training data problem?
This is the really key part. The web app includes an opt-out feature. You can set generative AI preferences specifically to signal that you don't want your work used to train AI models.
Ah, the signal creators were asking for. Does Adobe respect that for their own AI?
Yes. Adobe says their own Firefly AI is only trained on licensed content, like Adobe Stock, where they even pay contributors extra if their work is used for Firefly, or public domain stuff. They state clearly they never train on customer content stored in their cloud.
So their opt-out is mainly aimed at other AI companies.
Exactly. That's the crucial detail. Adobe is pushing for industry-wide adoption of this opt-out standard, hoping other big players, OpenAI, Google, etc., will honor it.
And are they?
Well, right now, Adobe says only spawning the company behind the Have I Been Trained website has actually committed to respecting this opt-out preference.
So it's a great tool, but its power depends on other companies choosing to respect it. That's a big hurdle.
It is. It highlights the need for industry-wide standards, or maybe regulation.
And Adobe learned about the importance of clarity the hard way, didn't they? With that terms of service issue.
Oh boy, yes. They updated their terms, the wording was confusing, and creators absolutely erupted, fearing Adobe was giving itself rights to train AI on their private work.
Major backlash.
Huge. Adobe had to backtrack fast, clarify their position, no training on customer content, no ownership claims. It was a massive lesson for them, and really the whole industry.
Lesson being.
Transparency.
Yeah.
Clear communication,
Yeah.
and getting explicit, informed consent. You can't just bury stuff in legal terms and hope for the best. Not with something this sensitive. Trust is paramount.
Are other big companies doing anything similar on the transparency front?
Yeah, there are other efforts. Google, for example, talks a lot about model cards.
Model card.
They're like data sheets for AI models,
Yeah.
explaining how they were built, what data they used, how they're intended to be used, limitations,
Okay.
trying to open the black box a bit.
Okay, that helps with understanding. What about identifying AI content?
Google also developed a tool called Synthid. It embeds a digital watermark directly into AI-generated content images, audio, video, even text that's supposed to be invisible to humans but detectable by machines.
So you could potentially tell if something was AI made.
That's the goal. Tools like Synthid and Adobe's content credentials are all steps towards trying to build a more trustworthy ecosystem around AI. We need ways to know where content comes from.
It seems like the industry is slowly moving, but maybe not fast enough for creators. What about governments? Are they stepping in?
They are. The EU is a major example. They adopted their AI Act just recently, August 2024. It's intended to be a global benchmark.
What does it do?
It takes a risk-based approach. Basically, the higher the potential risk of an AI system, the stricter the rules.
And generative AI, like ChatGPT or DALL-E, high risk.
They fall under general-purpose AI, GPAI systems, which have significant transparency requirements. They need to comply with EU copyright law, provide summaries of the data used for training.
Ah, transparency about training data mandated by law. That's big.
It's a huge step. It shows this growing global understanding that we need rules, we need protection, especially for creators, in this rapidly changing AI landscape.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. The really strong feelings in creative communities like Fortnite's, the specific fears around training data and style,
Right, but also the potential for AI as a tool, as seen in Epic's vision, and the importance of that human-centered approach.
and the efforts, both from companies like Adobe with content credentials and opt-outs, and governments with new regulations like the EU AI Act, trying to build trust and provide protection.
It's clear that while the tech offers amazing possibilities for efficiency, maybe new kinds of creativity, creators absolutely need and are demanding control, transparency, and respect for their work.
It feels like the focus is shifting towards AI as an augmentative force, something that helps humans rather than just replacing them.
That seems to be the most sustainable path forward.
Hmm.
And, the human creative spirit is incredibly resilient. It adapts. Generative AI, and it's a big if it's developed and used responsibly, really could amplify unique human vision, unlock creative ideas we haven't even thought of yet.
Because at the end of the day, your voice, your style, your perspective as a creator, that's unique, irreplaceable.
Exactly. AI can't replicate that authentic human spark.
So maybe the final thought for you listening is this. How can you potentially reach new creative levels by collaborating strategically with AI?
Using it as that powerful assistant for the tedious stuff, for brainstorming, but always keeping your hand firmly on the creative tiller, maintaining that oversight and integrity.
And how can you be part of shaping the future here? By staying informed, advocating for creator rights, and maybe embracing the tools that actually empower your art while being wary of those that don't.
Lots to think about.
Definitely. Thanks for diving deep with us today.